I kept meeting my biological father, but he had no clue it was me, so I did something I can never take back. My father had me when he was 16. From what I understand, he was in a really screwed up situation and couldn't raise me himself, so I ended up in foster care. I started getting curious about who my dad was when I was like 7, and my foster parents told me stuff about him. I remember thinking how cool he sounded from their stories, and on my 13th birthday, they gave me this letter he wrote for me. The letter had like coffee stains on it or something, and even though he said he couldn't be the dad I needed, he mentioned being open to meeting someday. So yeah, I basically spent my whole teenage years obsessed with finding him. My homework got ignored, and I barely had any social life because literally every spare minute was spent trying to track him down. Then when I turned 23, I actually found him. Holy crap, he was working at this bookstore just 2 counties over from me. I swear I found his Facebook profile and was in my car driving there within like 30 minutes. The first time I walked into that bookstore was just insane. I spotted him right away at the register, and I literally had to duck into the biography section to have a mini breakdown. When I pulled myself together a few minutes later, I went up to the counter, and guess who was there to help me? "Do you have any Stephen King?" were the first words I ever said to my dad. I wanted to tell him right there, but completely froze up. My heart was racing so fast I thought I might pass out in the freaking Stephen King section. He pointed me toward a display table, and I mumbled something about The Shining and just kinda wandered off. I bought a book I didn't even want just to have a reason to be there. After that first visit, I couldn't stop going back. Even though it was like a 45-minute drive each way, I started showing up 3 times a week. I'd browse books, pretend to be super interested in whatever sale they had going, and then buy something small just so he'd ring me up. We started having these little conversations about books, then movies, then just random stuff. He had no idea each time we talked it was healing some part of me that had been broken since forever. My mom, adoptive mom I mean, started getting worried about how much money I was spending on gas and random books I didn't read. My daughter Emma even asked why I kept buying books when I never finished the ones I already had. I just made up some BS about supporting local bookstores and literacy in the community. After like 4 months of this weird stalker routine, my friend Taylor was like, "Dude, this is getting pathetic. Just tell him already." Taylor even bet me $500 I wouldn't do it, which honestly was the kick in the ass I needed. I was spending so much money driving there anyway, might as well earn some back, right? I decided I'd wait until his shift ended. I sat in my car in the parking lot feeling like I might throw up. The anxiety was almost unbearable. When he finally walked out to his car, I almost chickened out. But then I thought about everything I'd been through to find him, all those years searching and wondering, and forced myself to get out of the car despite my overwhelming nervousness. I walked up to him and said, "Hey," like a total idiot. He smiled and said they were closing, but I blurted out, "That's not why I'm here," and told him I had something important to say. He looked super confused, especially when I apologized for keeping this secret for so long. I pulled out the crumpled letter from my pocket. My hands were literally shaking as I started unfolding it, but I didn't even need to finish. The second he saw that stained paper, his face just changed. He recognized it immediately. He started crying right there in the parking lot. Like, not subtle tears, but full-on sobbing. Then he hugged me so tight I could barely breathe. It was awkward and messy and absolutely perfect. He actually pulled back and asked if hugging me was okay, which made me laugh through my own tears, and I just pulled him back in. We stood there crying like idiots for what felt like forever. When I finally managed to say, "I'm your son," his knees literally buckled, and I had to catch him. What got me most was when he said, "Look how tall you got." We went back inside the bookstore and just talked for hours. He told me he never left the state because he always hoped I'd look for him someday. He turned down promotions and transfers just to stay findable. That completely wrecked me. We exchanged numbers before I left, and he texted me later thanking me for the greatest gift. He's coming over Sunday to meet my daughter, and I'm honestly terrified, but in a good way.